President Trump did an interview with Fox and Friends, and he is talking about this new book he's selling, which is like a picture book from when he was president. He made a claim about COVID here that is beyond absurd.
But, Mr. President, what would you do to fix the supply chain crisis?
Well, first of all, it would have never happened. Nobody ever mentioned those words, supply chains. That would never brought up. We had perfect supply chains. We had an economy that was going like, we had the greatest economy in history. We then had the China virus. We fixed it. We did a great job with it. And between not only that, the ventilators, all of the different things that we did.
We had the China virus. We fixed it. You fixed COVID-19. You fixed it. You fixed COVID-19. That's weird. I was under the impression we're still living with it now. I was under the impression it never went away since it started. There's been waves. There's definitely been waves. But you didn't fix Dickie McGee's... Come on, man. Come on, dog. Come on. Like, this is a man with verbal diarrhea. Like, he'll just start talking and start saying shit, and there doesn't have to be any connection in his mind to that which is true. Like, he's not trying, as he talks, he's not trying to say accurate things. He's trying to be his own biggest cheerleader. Now, I know a lot of you listening to this will be like, well, that's obvious. Yeah, but it's just amazing to see it in real time. Look at that stream of consciousness verbal diarrhea. We fixed it. We fixed the virus. Oh, did you? Did you really? Now, look, I'll give him credit for fast-tracking that vaccine, and it works, and it's great. Good. Hey, man, do a victory lap over that for sure. You can't say you fixed the virus. You did not fix the virus. And, by the way, it is totally untrue about that we didn't have a supply chain crisis starting under Trump. It absolutely started under Trump. And you got to understand, so we've looked at this a bunch of different ways, and inflation, unfortunately, is being blamed by many people on the big government spending. So, namely, the COVID rescue packages. Some of them happened under Trump. A big one happened under Biden. And people, a lot of, the gut reaction from a lot of people is like, well, that must be the thing that's leading to inflation. It absolutely, positively, 100% is not the thing that's leading to inflation. Every economist and every expert I've talked to makes it crystal clear this has everything to do with the supply chain. So, and, you know, I gave you guys a detailed breakdown of that in the segment we did rebutting Tulsi Gabbard, who made the claim that the big spending is the problem here. No, it turns out, because of COVID, there was, to one extent or another, a lockdown originally in this country, and the economy had some colossal, monumental shifts. So people stopped going out, no more restaurants, movie theaters, shopping in person. Everything became online shopping, and you had the supply chains had so much stress on them because there was so much PPE that had to ship around the world, and the ports got clogged, and then add on top of that all the home shopping and online shopping that people are doing. That puts even more stress on the supply chain, and so you just have this colossal backup, and so demand shot up and supply also dropped because, again, in some countries had full lockdowns and people just weren't working, and so when demand shoots up and supply drops, it's a recipe for that. So, and of course that happened under Trump as well. It's been talked about more under the Biden administration because the problem's been dragging out and getting worse. But the idea that, like, well, we did everything right, nobody even said supply chain under my administration, totally bonkers. But not nearly as bonkers as the second thing he said. We fixed it. We fixed the China virus. Imagine believing that and saying that. Well, I don't even know if he believes it, or I don't even know if belief even factors into the equation for this guy when he talks. I really just think it's pure stream of consciousness. I'm going to be my own biggest cheerleader. And guys, this is quintessential pathological liar stuff here. Is that there is no, like, when you talk and when I talk, we try to make sure that you're navigating the minefield and staying away from saying things that are untrue and steer towards saying things that are true. But when this guy talks, he just tap dances his way through the minefield, doesn't care if it's true or false. It's just bravado and bluster and his own biggest cheerleader. And so that's where you get absurd things like this. By the way, was there any pushback over that? No. There's another part of the interview which is hilarious where basically all three hosts try to get Trump to admit that being on social media was a bad idea. That, hey man, when you were tweeting, everybody fucking hated you. Now you're kicked off Twitter. Nobody sees what you're saying on a daily basis anymore, and now your approval rating's going up. Don't you think maybe it would be a good idea to stay off Twitter even if you run again and you're allowed back on, which I don't even think he's going to be allowed back on. But if you run again and you're allowed back on, shouldn't you stay off Twitter? Because look at your approval rating now is higher than it was before. And Trump's basically like, no, no, I want to do it. That's effectively his answer, which is hilarious. But it's funny that the one area where the Fox people pushed him is like, stay off Twitter. And that's it. But they didn't push back on, we fixed it. We fixed the China virus. You fixed it. Great. Good to know. I'll let everybody in America know that apparently, guys, it's good. We don't have to worry about it anymore. It's been defeated. Trump defeated it. Everything that's happened since then is just all in our imagination. And imagine he wins again, which is I think he's the favorite to win again in 2024. What are you going to say then? He'll be back in power. He could do more of his own COVID policies. And my guess is it won't improve because his policies were shitty early on. You know, there was this was great. There was an article. I forgot about this until right this second. There was an article that came out about 3 weeks ago. There's this government agency which was specifically to address the supply chain crisis. They were allocated something between like $100 million and $400 million, something in that range. And they spent basically none of the money trying to fix the supply chain. This was under Trump. And come to find out, I think Jared Kushner was in charge of it, and they gave the contract to one of Jared Kushner's friends, and so none of the money was spent on actually fixing the supply chain. Incredible. So in other words, the opposite of what Trump is saying is true about the supply chain. We never had a problem. No, there was a problem, and then there was an agency that was supposed to fix it, and none of the money went to fixing it. That's his administration in a nutshell.